A lot of people are asking, where's Dillian Whyte? Are we going to see him back in a British ring again? Or any ring for that matter? And that's then followed by another question. Should Dillian Whyte fight on or should he retire? So first of all, where is he? Will we ever see him back in the ring? As far as I know, he hasn't resolved this issue with the British Boxing Board of Control and UKAD. He failed a test last year. Since that time, he has fought once, but that was in Ireland, and as I understand it, it was under either an Irish license or some other foreign license. I'm not privy to what's going on with that whole situation, so I can't tell you if he's going to fight in the UK again. I'm sure Dillian Whyte would love to be involved in the stuff that's going on with the Saudis, but their shows in Saudi Arabia, in the past at least, have involved the British Boxing Board of Control. So presumably that's a no-go for Dillian Whyte. Also, based on some of Eddie Hearn's recent interviews where he's been asked about Dillian Whyte, reading between the lines with Eddie Hearn's body language and the stuff he's saying and not saying, I suspect there's a rift between Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte. I don't think they're on good terms right now. I don't think Eddie Hearn will be looking to help Dillian Whyte out or give him any opportunities. I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm reading it. As for Frank Warren, I really don't know. Maybe because of the fallout with the Conor Benn situation, Frank Warren's looking at Dillian Whyte and saying, look, you need to sort out your issue with the British Board and UKAD. Until you do, I can't work with you. This is all speculation, of course, but that's my best guess. Now, as far as whether Dillian Whyte should fight again, it depends on what perspective you're coming from. None of us know Dillian Whyte's financial situation. If his financial situation is very good and he's handled his money wisely and he's still sitting on multi-millions, then I would say no, he shouldn't fight again. Because as far as I'm concerned, his punch resistance is totally shot. He's always been a plodder with slow feet. He's never been difficult to hit, and he's in his late 30s now. And so if he doesn't really need the money, then he should do what's best for his health, in my view, and call it a day. But if he's not doing as well financially as some people might assume, if he can't live off the money he has for the rest of his life without having to work, then maybe he should carry on boxing for a little while longer. Try to secure at least one final big payday. And if he decides to take that particular route, there's only one guy who I think he should even entertain fighting, in a competitive match that is. If he comes back against a couple journeymen to warm up, that's okay. But in terms of competitive fights, there's only one guy I think Dillian Whyte should consider, and that's Derek Chisora. I think that fight is by far and away the best out there for him in terms of risk reward. There are some people saying he should fight Andy Ruiz or Jerome Miller. I totally disagree. I think both of them would beat Dillian Whyte, particularly Miller. I wouldn't give Dillian Whyte much of a chance in either of those fights because of the styles. Dillian Whyte has got history with Derek Chisora. He had 2 fights with him already. They were both exciting fights. A trilogy match would easily sell out the O2 or the MEN Arena. Easily. They could probably get away with putting that on pay-per-view. I'm not encouraging them to, but they probably could, especially with Chisora coming off the back of that exciting win over Joe Joyce. I just don't see Dillian Whyte getting any other fight which will pay him as much as Chisora whilst being winnable. Yeah, there are other fights that might pay him more than Chisora, but as far as I'm concerned, there's very little chance of him winning. But Del Boy is a guy that Dillian Whyte has already beaten twice. And I'm not saying he'd win a third time. I'm saying he'd have a better chance of beating Chisora than, let's say, beating Zhang, Martin Bacoli, Miller, Ruiz, etc. In my view anyway. So that's my take on the matter. But give me your take in the comment section below. Will Dillian Whyte fight again? And should he fight again? Or should he call it a day? Leave me your thoughts.
Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.